Welcome back to Sefaria's training course for educators. I'm Sarah Wachenfeld, Director of Education. In the last lesson, you learned how to create your own sheet on Sefaria. This time, we'll focus on what you can do with this sheet that you've started, how to play with the format, and how to share your sheet and collaborate with others. To edit a sheet that you've created previously, go into your account page. Click on Sheets. And because you want to make changes to the sheet, click on the Edit Sheet button to the right of the sheet title. You can also access the edit mode for this sheet by clicking on the title of the sheet itself, and then clicking in the table of contents, clicking on this small arrow here, and selecting Edit Sheet. More on that table of contents later on. Now you're able to make changes to your sheet. There are 3 ways to do this. You can use the Format menu on the upper left-hand side. This menu allows you to change the look of your sheet as a whole by, for example, substituting out divine names, numbering your sources, boxing them, adding B'siyata Dishmaya to the corner of the sheet, changing the sheet language or sheet layout. Another way to adjust your sheet is by clicking into a source. You'll see a light blue box around the words, and that's how you'll know that you can make changes. You'll get this edit bar, which is similar to any word processor, and now you can make changes to the text. You can play with colors, you can bold, you can change fonts, font sizes, or add links or images. Or you can hover over a source, click outside the source, and hover over to get this menu. You can move sources up and down with these arrows, indent or outdent, remove a source entirely, or copy a source to another sheet. This lesson's tutorials contain more details on how to use each of these, so please look over those instructions if you're unsure. Now that you or your students have created materials, think about how you can use those materials to connect with others. At Sefaria, we assume that learning is best in chavruta, in communication with others. As I mentioned in the last class, the Share button is in the upper right-hand corner of the sheet, and it lets you control who else can interact with your sheet. You can choose to list your sheet on Sefaria by sliding the toggle from No to Yes, and we hope you will. Sefaria's library is stronger and more useful when our community members share with one another. We also model openness and self-confidence for our students when we share. I hope you'll join me in making resources public as often as possible. If you want to share the sheet with others beyond the Sefaria community, or you'd like to share with just a select group of people, like, for example, the students in your class, just copy and paste this URL. You can include it in an email, post it in Google Classroom or another website, or share it on social media. You can also choose to collaborate on the sheet. Sefaria sheets default to anyone with access can view, which means that anyone who has the link can view the sheet but not make changes. However, you can also set the sheet to anyone can add, which will create a collaborative space for you and your colleagues to create materials together, or for your students to engage in discussion. Each person's contribution will have his or her name underneath. Alternatively, you can set it to anyone can edit, which will give anyone the ability to edit the sheet. As you can see, you'll want to be cautious with this, because now that it's set to edit, anyone can make changes, and Sefaria doesn't save old versions. When you're done setting your sharing settings, click Save. Now that you're finished editing and sharing, at least for now, let's take a step back and see what we've created. My sheet is a part of the Sefaria library, so I want to leave the edit mode and see what it looks like in the larger context of Sefaria. Click on View in Library to go to the library mode. Alternatively, you can open a sheet in library mode from your own sheet collection by going back into your account, clicking on Sheets, and clicking on the sheet title from within your private collection. You know from learning about Sefaria's library that every text is connected to other texts, and that you can pursue these connections just by clicking. That remains true even when you've collected texts onto a sheet. Click on the text, and a side panel will open that displays the connections. Encourage your students to pursue their interest and follow up on a sheet that you've created. Alternatively, a Sefaria sheet displayed in class can be a jumping-off point for a discussion. If a student asks a question that sparks class interest, or if you have different directions in mind for a particular conversation, you can click to open the Resources panel, and you can display your sheet with the appropriate connections side by side. This is an important feature of teaching with Sefaria. Our sheets give you the ability to share agency with your students and give them the tools to explore, and they also give you the flexibility to take a textual conversation in new directions. The rest of this lesson will take you through more detailed explanations of formatting, sharing, and collaborating. Enjoy, and remember to reach out to us if you have questions or feedback.